Hey, everybody, welcome to the first episode of Foreigners Talk American, the exciting podcast where I, a lone American, will discuss something unique about my country's culture to three of my best foreign friends. And we got a very diverse group of people with me today. From Ireland, we got Gary.
Hi.
From South Korea, we got Andrew.
Hello.
And from New Zealand, we got Jonathan.
Yora, how's everyone doing?
Jonathan, you excited about this?
Yeah, no, I'm keen, I guess. No, I'm definitely excited. No, this is a great idea, and like someone said, we're all curious to see how this would go. So,
a little backstory: the four of us met many years ago in San Diego, back in college, and we lived in a housing complex called International House. Someone want to describe that? Gary, you want to describe what International House was like?
It was kind of a place for us to get to know each other, explore each other's culture, and share food, share experiences, and share alcohol, and kind of get to know as much as possible about each other, while also exposing us to American culture and the unique curiosities of the society of which
you guys are
lived
using
in.
the word curiosity a little bit too much in this recording, but we'll go with that. But yeah, iHouse was this pretty unique environment where they took half international students, half American students, and then we all lived together in this complex. And kind of the outcome of it is like we learned about each other's culture, and then we had a lot of fun conversations where we learned how other countries do things. A lot of the conversations would start off with someone like Jonathan saying, "Why do Americans do this?" And then I would explain, "Jonathan, please just tip the waitress. Come on, don't be cheap about it." Because
why is it
good,
that?
That's good.
I'm
Why
sorry
is
to
it
the
that
waitress at the
non-American
San Diego
aliens have
Applebee's
to-
that we went to.
But no, I never understand why we non-American aliens actually, we're still being called aliens, by the way, illegally, right? Are supposed to shoulder, inherent flaw in your system. Why is it that it's our burden to carry? But never mind. That's maybe for another episode.
That's
Yeah,
going to be
we'll do tipping
on a topic, on a tipping culture later, right?
We'll do that for episode 2. But yeah, so the idea of this podcast is just kind of reliving those conversations we had in college. And because we're in a very strange time right now, where we're all kind of stuck at home, we're all quarantined, we thought it'd be great to start doing a podcast where we discuss these topics, and we can also kind of reconnect because we haven't really regularly talked to each other in the many years since college. We're all a little bit older now. We're a little bit wiser than we were in college. So
Hopefully.
So bringing up college, we're going to discuss for our first episode of Foreigners Talk American something that we dealt with a lot back in San Diego, which is the American drinking age of 21, which is quite higher than most other countries. So let's get your initial takes on the American drinking age. I think, Gary, you want to start? You're from Ireland, so you might have a good opinion on this.
Yeah, it was probably the hardest part about moving to San Diego, was that I went from having 3 years of being allowed to drink to all of a sudden it's been illegal, me not being able to participate in arguably a cultural norm for me, and it became very challenging that all of a sudden I couldn't socialize with this, because this is quite a large portion of my university experience, was going to parties, drinking, going to the pub, and events being based around alcohol. And all of a sudden this became very much a taboo subject, so much so that you kind of couldn't even buy alcohol. You could get expelled for being drunk in public, whereas this is very acceptable in the university environment where I came from.
So when you came to San Diego, you were like 20, right? How old were you?
I was 20. I had 3 months of being underage again, and it was a very long 3 months of my life.
And Jonathan, when you were in San Diego, you were underage the whole time. I think you were 19, right?
So you didn't drink at all,
Well,
yeah?
So you were very.
Not even one drop. I was just, I'm one of the most loyal fan of the boys, just kind of railing them on the sidelines, saying, "Hey guys, come on, one more drink, skull it." But I did not touch it at all.
You spent too much time with Bible study instead of partying with us.
Some form of study, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I was affectionately called the kid, right? Or you guys, I'm cunts. So, I was technically underage the whole time, and And I guess I kind of echo what Gary said, because coming in, from we were still at uni, but coming in from the culture where everything was pretty centered around, anything social was centered around drinking. So it's kind of odd to go from that to then suddenly saying, oh, no, this is not for you. You are all still minors, well, not minors, but kids, I guess, in that sense. So yeah. So I guess that was it. So sorry about having to not let you guys, not have you guys be able to drink in some activities when we're hanging out together. Although, things still happened the way they did. So let me just put it that way.
Yeah, because the issue was I was 21. Andrew was way over 21. He was like 24, which was really weird.
Oh, Andrew, he was like 40 some shit, man.
But whenever we had alcohol in our apartment, if Jonathan was there, it became super illegal because he's an underage guy.
Yeah.
But
I remember Peter even told me to go hide in the bathroom or something. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so stay there for a while.
If you don't have the proper papers, you have to hide.
Yeah, whenever the security checks the room, and we always hide Jonathan somewhere in room or like a bed or
yeah, it was kind of like an Anne Frank situation, but
yeah.
But like, why did the police care so much? Like, there was bigger issues in the world, and the police really cared about alcohol in the environment.
The police of a university campus, that's the biggest issue. This is on par with murder in university campuses because there's not much going on there.
But they know that. They know that the students are drinking.
So
right?
Gary and Jonathan, you said like in your universities, drinking was very much part of your culture from the beginning of going to universities. But to be frank, in San Diego, drinking is also part of your culture, but it's just a taboo. It's just forbidden and something you have to hide. But it's like everyone's very aware that like most of the kids in college are drinking. So it just seems kind of logical to have a drinking age at 21. Like a more realistic one would be 18, which is like what are the drinking ages in your countries?
18.
I think it should once you join the college, it's like between 18 and 19 in Korea. So I think once you join the college, I think it should be accepted. So yeah, it is very weird. You can start drinking in the States when you're like a junior or something, right?
Yeah, junior in college.
That's
like the only thing that I can really think is like because in America you drive a little bit earlier. I think you drive when you're 16, and you have to probably drive more because America is so vast. Like there's not great public transportation, so probably the alcohol has obviously a terrible effect with driving. So maybe they were trying to curb accidents by raising it to 21.
But like it also poorly prepares students, so when they actually start drinking, they're not ready to drink. So you get to this junior level where they're allowed to drink, and they are not ready to drink. So I grew up being able to be prepared that I could handle my drink. I knew the consequences of drink. Yeah. I saw so many people. This was their first taste of freedom, and they really could drink. Like they were drinking. Like the amount of times
I think it's actually the opposite. Because like if it's such a high age, when you're 18, when you're under 21, you want to abuse it because it's like you don't know the next chance you're going to drink, so you want to swig that whole fifth of vodka or whatever it is.
Well, it's also just lack of practice. Like if you had access to reasonable amounts of alcohol and had drank earlier, you would be okay. But these people never they didn't build a tolerance. They didn't build an alcoholic culture. Which is it's just so unacceptable that you end up chasing. I'd never heard the concept of chasing before I went to the US. Like, just drink alcohol. It tastes okay. Get used to it. If
Not
you can't
the kind of
drink it,
that we were drinking though. Like it was that $5 vodka that came in the plastic container. But I heard that if you put that through a regular Brita filter, it makes it a little better because you get an extra filter.
Brita filter? The vodka thing?
Like it's distilled again, right? That's I don't really know the science of a Brita filter, but Gary, you're saying that in like Ireland, you start having a drinking culture at a relatively young age, but you just said the drinking age is 18, but like how's that work in Ireland?
So in a similar way that people start drinking at 18 when they're in the US, even though it's not the age, we would start probably drinking around 15. With like
15.
few acceptable, it's acceptable in certain circumstances, but not everyone does, and it's definitely kind of sparse. But by the time you're finishing secondary school, most people are 18 and most people are going to the pub regularly and start developing it. And so many family events are based around alcohol, so that you become accustomed to it and you see it a lot, and it's not a thing that's like a taboo that you like hide away from people. It's an acceptable activity.
Mm.
So you're not
Whereas-
abusing it at 15.
Nah, well, some people are, but not everyone. I think you make the mistakes early, and then you don't, like, by the time you go to university, you're not so susceptible to those
So you're
mistakes.
saying that in Ireland, it's better to make children make these terrible mistakes instead of 18.
Yeah. So they
But they still live with their
learn.
parents. At least
Yeah.
they like if you are at least in a duty of care of your parents, you're at least somewhat. Whereas if you're on your own in university and you make that mistake, you're at a lot more risk. Can you trust?
No,
your
yeah,
other
that's a
drum
good point
friends?
because you're around people that are just as stupid as you in university essentially, and your first alcoholic experience are often like a frat party, and then
Yeah.
just a continuous bad influence. What's it like in Korea, Andrew? Like, do people drink at an early age too?
Oh, actually, some people do that, but not much because in Korea the study in the high school is really important to join to enter the university. So we don't drink in that early age, maybe, but once you join the college, it's like a sudden, so much freedom from the study. So we binge drink. The freshman year drinking is the episode, A lot of people talk about that days. I threw up in the party, or like I drank 6 days in a row. Yeah.
Your first
So I
week
think-
in freshman college?
Yeah, I think I used to drink like 5 or 6 days in a week, all week,
Wow.
every week, almost every week. Yeah, I thought I was dying or something, but I was young and healthy, and I wake up and I realized that I'm fine. Then I drink soju again, and so I think Gary got the point. I agree with some point that once you start drinking from at early age, you know how to control yourself. You know your tolerance, how much you can drink, and above that level that you got something got wrong, and that's the reason why I think 21 is too high still, and 18 probably good.
But you're saying like there's still binge
Yeah.
drinking in Korea is just legal over there, like when you're 18, when you got out of high school.
After I graduate from the high school, yeah.
But Koreans have to go to the army, right? Right after high school.
Oh, not right after high school. Once you join the college, then you have some years. Then you can choose the year when to join the military service. So yeah. Oh, and when I was in San Diego, I was like 24 or 5, one of the highest in the
Yeah, you were like
house.
the oldest guy in my house.
Yeah.
Probably.
So it's very funny for me because I've been drinking like 6 years, right? But once I in the San Diego, like Jonathan and those young guys asked me to buy a drink. What? Why do I have to buy a drink? Why?
Bro, I was asking to buy a drink. I respect
It's because
you
you're
so much for
Opa.
that.
You're the
That's
elder.
a great example
Yeah,
that I
I
would
was
not
eldest.
choose. So.
Yeah, I remember that
Sorry.
those young guys were very excited to go to Mart. Well, there's a Mart, so, and
Yeah,
they
it's
were
a-
happy to go in me
Rouse.
so that I can Ralph's. Yeah, they liked my ID, not me, I guess. Yeah? Jonathan, why did you do that?
I don't know any of that. What the fuck? You're confusing me with some of the Asians, bro. Just like how I confuse you with some of the Koreans out there. I think that's what's happening. But no. We're all mates.
Is drinking at an early age pretty common in New Zealand, Jonathan?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, so I'm just gonna pretty much piggyback on what Gary was saying. How we all start at about sort of 15, 16-ish, and then start off with the casual beer, the casual bourbon, your house parties, and then and you probably know you're at uni, and it is true that that even though it might be legal, not going to sort of condone any sort of binge drinking behavior, because it's true that we still, we were still young, and we would definitely try to, hit our limits, or I guess explore and find out where they are, anyways. And I guess that was the whole point of having us able to do that, and having also sort of the same setup, I think, is in Ireland, maybe in Korea, where we aren't sort of quote unquote estranged from our family. We don't move I don't know, miles and miles away, so we still would have our family around and sort of support around to guide us.
So you think the family dynamic is very important in your development to taste of alcohol?
Definitely. I mean, having that sort of I guess presence of family around us is definitely vital. And so that, I mean, it all comes down to alcohol not being, I guess, a novelty in that aspect. So that where Americans, I guess, what surprised, I guess, me, maybe also us, if I can speak on our behalf, is that looking at how they kind of, I don't know, revered alcohol in that way, like they can now drink it, and that was surprising to me. And if I can just mention one more sort of anecdotal experience was, I think at the time when we were there, 2012, 2013, I think cinemas in California or in, I guess, one of those states, maybe a few of them, made it legal to drink in cinemas. And I saw the reaction of Americans going, wow, it's awesome. And I'm like, was that supposed to change anything? Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's just getting the whole sort of novelty perspective out of alcohol. I think it's probably, to me, the point of having the age a bit lower, not at 21, where you're. You can get married already at 21, huh? you can
get married you want. At 13 in America if your parent can
at 13.
Do it. Yeah, like if a lot of Mormons do that.
So why can't you drink at 13 if your parents consent to it?
Because apparently, because drinking is a sin, but marrying at 13 is not in some states. But
might be because of the Prohibition era or something, where that just kind of stayed that way. Or...
It definitely relates to Prohibition. Like, it's a Prohibition era regulation that it was acceptable at 21 when they went back from Prohibition.
So none of your countries had Prohibition at one point?
Nope.
Probably not Ireland, no.
But there was a temperance movement, though. I mean, it's kind of mirrored you guys' Prohibition era, where I guess, it was a temperance movement that it was kind of like, I think, Christian grounded, that tried to discourage alcohol use at the time as well. But I don't think it went as far as Prohibition, though. I'm not a history student, but
so Jonathan,
Prohibition. But Prohibition doesn't do anything like other than encourage people. People still do it. Like, banning something doesn't stop it. Like that's
it's just the black market of anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's
it's very
why
clear in your history, like that.
If everyone's drinking, then what's the point of having a provision, right?
No, that's why they repealed it pretty soon after. But Jonathan, the fact that alcohol was illegal for you when you made it to San Diego, did you feel like you had to abuse it more because you were actually underage?
No, honestly, it might sound a little irresponsible to say this. I mean, then again, I've always been that. But having already been, I'm trying to find a better way to say this, blackout drunk, before coming to the States, I already know how that felt. And so I didn't see it as a challenge to have to, to relive that experience again. Although, of course, eventually, like any other American, also we found out ways to access alcohol. But I just didn't see that as as a thing that I had to, actually find, and then and go out of my way to get my hands on. So no,
but
I didn't feel like I was that young.
But it created this image of the party, and whereas if you were legally allowed to go to a pub, you have a more reasonable drinking, or a nightclub where you need to get into, you take it a little bit more easy. But this whole party where you're staying in the one space just encouraged you to drink heavily and quickly because it was going to get shut down. And so it became this kind of race nearly, in a way that doesn't necessarily need to exist if you're legally allowed to go to the pub. That you could go down to Porter's, or you could go down to Round Table Pizza, and you wouldn't stay in your house as much.
Yeah.
But Gary, didn't you find that these house parties to be a little bit more exciting than just drinking at a pub?
No.
No.
No, I much prefer a pub. And as soon as I was legally allowed to drink, I spent a lot of time in Round Table Pizza. I much prefer a draft drink, and I much prefer being able to go out and dance and celebrate and just do it like that than this kind of cramped, stuffy, sweaty place where people live and there's not space. Like, there was big house parties, don't get me wrong, and I had great house parties, but in general, there was always this sense that you're going to get shut down, and the fact that it was always on a Friday night and or Saturday night, and like, whereas in Ireland we were going out every night of the week.
How's the Irish people afford all that? You're in college and you go to the pub every night.
I'm never sure how to afford it, to be honest.
Are there specific bank loans for your pub tab in Ireland?
Oh, you guys have a student night, like Wednesday night or something, being student
every
night?
night. So every night there's a different nightclub that you go to for the specific nights. Dicey's on a Monday, G2's on a Wednesday. Like, you knew all the places to go for the most affordable drink. And then we also had on-campus bars, which were relatively affordable.
See, the advantage of the house party, in my opinion, is like, for the cost of one handle of vodka, you can basically sustain a group of like 5 to 10 people.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's not that cheap. It's always cheaper to have it at home, right? I mean, that's true, and it's why you kind of pre-drink and then see where the night goes from there, right? I mean, sometimes you do.
Andrew, you remember?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
like,
you
there
could
was
just
just
save
full
them.
of Budweiser from Peter.
Yeah, the cheapest beer, right?
Like, when in
Yeah,
America,
never decide.
he just wanted to drink the cheapest beer, apparently.
Yeah.
But what is it like
That's how you-
in Korea? Is it more like you go out to the bar and you drink at people's houses?
Actually, we don't, we until we got married, I've been living with my parents before I got married, and most of the people do that. So we don't, we don't think
You don't
of
have parties
having
with
a
your
house
parents?
party. No. Having a drink with my friends, with my parents, is almost unimaginable, really.
Mhm.
So we usually go out, we near the university. Oh, there's always like a street full of the pubs. Every university has their own street. In front of the university gate, there are a lot of pubs, because they know that the freshmen and sophomore, those university students are those people who drink most, in their age, in their life.
So that's an interesting dynamic, because there are a lot of 18-year-olds in your countries that are going to bars. Are bars
and pubs,
for
yeah.
pubs or bars? Are there like specific pubs for younger people, or is it for everybody? Does every age demographic show up there?
Actually, the pubs are open to everyone, but there's some expectation. If you go there, there are only young people. Then I can't go there, because I know that I will be the old, right?
You still look pretty young.
Thank you. You too.
You both be young to
Koreans
me.
don't
right?
age that much.
But it's between us. We talk to each other. You're young. You look young. But
No, if I
in
saw
their
you on the street, bro, I
in
think
their-
you're still just freshly 21, bro.
But
Serious.
in their perspective, those people in 20 or 21 saw us. Oh my God! Look at that old guy. What is doing in this pub? That's kind of some sort of expectation, right? That we should avoid. We mean, around my age, I don't go there anymore, because I know that their atmosphere, they're for university students or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely certain pubs
Sadly.
are age group specific. Like, there's certain pubs that are the places where people can drink underage, or there's a certain younger
Underage.
Ah,
What do you mean
sure,
underage?
Underage.
you know what I
What?
mean. So there's certain pubs
There's
that will
very
serve
little
that.
morals in Ireland for being such a Catholic country.
When I say underage, I mean under the drinking age. But yeah.
But
So
do they
like,
do they accept that? Do you mean some pubs accept those guys under drinking age?
maybe.
Oh.
Can you give us their Yelp accounts, and then we'll write some bad reviews on it?
It's just in every town there's certain places where they know there's less likelihood to be ID'd. And so you as an adult would avoid that pub because you know this is a fact. But in the same way you avoid certain pubs because there's a different, it's like a certain sport or a certain group of people who that's their local pub, and so you just develop your local pub in your local drinking area. And same now in Vancouver, I would only go to certain pubs because that's the age group I'm in. But like it's not assigned that, it's just what you become used to.
So is it less of a crime to serve to underage people in Ireland? Is it
No,
more
it's very much it's culturally possibly accepted, but definitely it's still a crime. And like there's many times the police still raid these pubs and check people's IDs, and like you can lose your license as a pub if you're caught serving people underage.
So how
very
does
serious.
How does a pub become the young people pub or the old people?
I'm never sure how it happens. It's just like I know what when I was of that age, I know what pub it was, and it changes over time. So it's just I don't know. It just kind of happens. I can't explain why or how. But in the same way that like Round Table Pizza in UCSD was probably your better chance than let's say Porter's, where they was much more strict.
It's very curious, I think to say.
Do the family goes to a pub together in Ireland? Like would you bring your dad to the pub with you?
Yeah, I would drink with my parents. When I'm home, that's the people I drink with the most is my parents and my family.
Really?
On that, I had a question then. Is it also, does it come down to trust at the end of the day? I guess, especially in the family circle where, compared to, I don't know, maybe American parents, our parents, households in, sort of non-American context, I guess, are more likely to be okay with their kids drinking, if anything around them. How was it, for you and your mates in America growing up? Did your parents... Are they okay with you?
Like I'm an Asian American, so
yeah,
I'm probably pretty similar to Andrew, where it's more uncommon to drink with your parents. It's not until I was like graduated from college I would drink with my dad. But I feel like for white Americans it might be a little bit different. But obviously I can't answer because I'm not a white American. But for me, like seeing alcohol at underage, like when I was under 21, was just such a taboo. It's so like it's like finding the gold egg in Indiana Jones or whatever. Like it was so amazing to see. And then like when I got to college, like it became a little bit more norm. But like that being a taboo just made us look over our shoulders all the time. Before I met you guys when I was like 18 to 21, afraid that the security would come in and bust us and then we get expelled or something.
Wow, I actually didn't appreciate how you got it like
that's so
that
cute.
serious.
Do people actually get expelled for it?
Probably not, because like it's such a weird, like it's such a like a backwards law because like it's obvious that everyone already does it or like most people already do it. But I think the rule is just there to like when the security wants to enforce it, they can. So it's so weird and it's unnecessary as well.
It's like they're threatening to, right? Threatened to not to drink, right?
Yeah. In America, we have this rule where you can't drink in public. Like it's. But a lot of people just put a paper bag over their alcohol.
Oh, yeah, that was.
And then you're kind of just hiding it, and the fact that you're making an effort to hide it kind of like makes the cops get off your back. So I would kind of compare the drinking in college when security is there, as long as you're willing to hide it when the security is there, then they won't like charge you or anything. But if you're a real douche about it, if you're just like acting really, really wasted in front of them, then they're more likely to punish you.
Oh man,
drinking in public is fine in your countries, though, right? Like drinking.
Not in Ireland.
No, not in Ireland.
No. Not in Ireland.
No, we don't drink. We don't drink in public.
Yeah.
What is it illegal? You mean, right?
You can't drink on the street. Like you couldn't have a can of beer on the street or on the beach or something like that. No, but in a pub, yes, it's okay. But not, and in your home, it's okay. But definitely not in a park or on the street or in wandering around. No.
Are you guys doing the paper bags over there in Ireland too?
Wow.
No, I think you'd still get stopped. You'd still get in trouble for it. So paper bag doesn't make a difference. It's just not really done. You would hide maybe in the field drinking cans if you were young, but like, because you wouldn't be able to get into a pub. But like as an adult, you would never really drink in public, or maybe occasionally in the park. Like when I was in London, it was more acceptable to drink in the parks and stuff like that. But in Ireland, very little people do.
Oh. Actually, now it's spring, right? So weather gets warmer, and whenever I talk with my friends, we talk about the drinking in the street, in the park, right? Because the weather is so good, and you can go out and just having a cup of
And that's
beer.
that's totally acceptable in South Korea. Like you can just go
Totally
outside with
absurd.
your
Yeah. If you go to the Han River Park, one of the most biggest, was the popular park in the Seoul, and yeah, you see a lot of people on the street, on the lawn. They put some mat on it, and they took some beer and drink in the street. At night, in the day, doesn't matter.
So there's no fear of that being a bad influence for a child if we walk by or something.
We talk to child. When you grow up, you can drink. But now you're young. Don't do that.
The Korean
don't
kids
do
are
this,
much
okay?
more well behaved. Are there vending machines with alcohol in Korea? Because I know they have that in
Actually, no,
Japan, right?
no.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I know they're
they
not the
check
same
their
country, though.
ID. Yeah. They have
Okay.
kind of special machine that check if that ID is a fake or not. Every shops they have they have some kind of machine. Because selling alcohol to underage is very serious issue. So you will get punished. So yeah, the shops check their ID, and some people after in the January 1st it is voluntary. In January 1st, that we count up everybody's age by +1.
So it's everyone's birthday.
So yeah,
It's New Year's and it's
So-
everyone's birthday.
yeah. So some people in their 17 or 18, they are legal to drink from the how to say it, the midnight
New
of the
Year's,
January
yeah.
1st, right?
Mhm.
So they wait in front of the shop, wait until the ring bell. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I can go to the pub.
That's
Oh my
very cool
God.
that like everyone has the same birthday in Korea. Essentially.
That day would be a very good party.
Yeah.
Just like Korea winning the World Cup, then I mean, imagine just everyone, just celebrating their birthdays together.
It's
What
a
a
universal
great- I
experience.
guess
It's kind of
we're
like
great
this
this
quarantine that we have. Everyone's dealing with it together.
Yeah.
When was your first exposure to alcohol, Jonathan?
Exposure. Well, honestly, you guys talking about
Honestly,
having-
man, be honest.
like so honest. I'm going to be honest with you, Andrew. You know that. All those times I was
Ten.
bar alcohol for us. Never happened. Yeah, it was probably when I was like 5 or 6 or something. I think my dad was at dinner with his mates, and then I was somehow there, I think, and then he was drinking some interesting looking gold yellow liquid, and he was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I think, he just actually let me taste it, and I'm like, "Ugh, after this, I'm not gonna put myself through this misery." Yeah. So honestly, yeah, that was the taste, first taste. But otherwise, first properly actually drinking, yeah, like late high school, early uni years is when we really got into
With
it.
friends in
Oh,
high
when?
school.
Yeah, casually, just again, like, so that, it wasn't really a novelty thing by the time I got to see you guys, well, we meet you guys in the States. It wasn't this, like, this fetish, I don't know. So I thought it was like that to a lot of Americans out there, especially, the younger ones, so.
My sister has a story about that because alcohol is illegal for underage people in America. Well, everywhere underage. But yeah, so she when she was in high school, someone bought her a Mike's Hard Lemonade. You know what a Mike's Hard Lemonade is?
No.
It's basically alcohol, like marketed at younger people because it tastes so sweet. It tastes like lemonade. and then she downed the
okay.
whole bottle when she was 15, and then I think she threw up because of it. But that's because it
How many
was just
percent?
so, because you want to drink it all at once because it's so illicit to have it.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of alcohol in that lemonade?
It's
drink?
probably the percentage of a beer, like one beer.
Oh, okay.
But Gary, what was your first experience with alcohol?
My first experience was probably at a concert when I was 16, and then I probably didn't really drink like more than one beer until I was 17. So I was quite late compared to a lot of people, but it was never really a big temptation for me. And then probably university is where I started drinking properly. Probably.
Who gave you the drink when you're 16?
I can't be naming people.
You're afraid they're gonna get in trouble for
No, it would have been one of my
15-year-old crime.
Yeah, it was one of my friends at the time. Like we were at a concert, and so they bought it, and then we all kind of shared out between us, all of us who were underage, and like.
Okay,
this
I'm
was
going to
great
try to do
alcohol.
some math here. You're 17, so this would be like 2009.
I don't remember.
So I'm going to say the concert was Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift was definitely well after that point in time. Like she was definitely not the concert that would be.
The concert was Linkin Park.
More in the right direction, I would say.
What was it? What was it?
Muse.
Muse. Yeah, I
Wow.
was in the right area.
Yeah, you were right here, definitely. So it was just it was the first time drinking like draft beer, and it was disgusting. Like I couldn't understand why people like this. At that first, I suppose it's true of everyone's first drink of alcohol. It is disgusting. Like
I mean, yeah, your friend should have gave you a Mike's Hard Lemonade.
yeah, Mike's Hard Lemonade would probably be a good shout for a first drink. All these new nude stuff and like the hard vodka. I don't know what the ones in California are.
It's called
Up
a
here,
White Claw.
a White Claw, and they're called nudes up here, and they're delicious and so easy to drink. I could see how you'd start drinking as a young person with these type of things.
Well, they don't
But
taste like anything. They taste like
Yeah.
sparkling water.
It's great.
Like LaCroix, yeah.
and there's no calories. It's like the perfect thing. Whereas I wouldn't have this beer belly if these were the type of drinks I learned to drink.
So you're getting into the sparkling LaCroix style alcohols now?
No, I'm
Now that
still
you're
slightly
older?
too addicted to these craft beers. Still love my IPAs.
So the popular drink in Ireland is
It's
it just
probably-
Guinness or is
No,
it
well, like
more to
for
it?
young people, it's lager and stuff, and then as you become more mature, you would switch into Guinness or Smithwick's as you get older. But definitely, when you start drinking, you're drinking Heineken, you're drinking Coors. You just drink like those more lagery drinks, and then as you become more mature and drink like properly, because you can drink a lot more of these ales. I think like you can have a good session of these ales without too much consequences compared to a lager. But maybe that's just my perception.
Are there alcohols marketed to children or not children but younger people in your countries
Probably
similar to
probably cider. to some
cider? Yeah, apple cider.
Yeah, cider's
Cider.
there was even a soft drink that was produced by the same company that made the cider that tasted very similar to that cider, that you could drink from like any age because there was no alcohol in it, but it tastes almost exactly as that cider. And so it was clearly like a preparatory drink for when you were able to drink the cider.
Is beer like the main order, like, or is it evenly split with wine, kind of like in America, or is it mostly beer people order in Ireland?
For younger people, beer definitely. But when we went to university, you couldn't buy beer in the on-campus shop. You could only buy wine, so we became very accustomed to free drinking with wine.
Oh, really? Interesting.
What about in New Zealand? Is there a popular drink over there?
I was gonna say that. Well, to go back to the EAP previous topic, yeah. When you're in teenage years, you probably start out drinking your lager beers, but also Coke and bourbons and stuff. You know, bourbon, a lot of bourbon, house parties, and then and I guess you get those lolly drinks as well, like some screwdrivers or something like that. That's what it was called, like
The vodka orange juice.
vodka and orange, yeah. I can remember those. And then what were those called? Like those, I think what was Smirnoff branded, but not straight up vodka. I think it was mixed with other kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
those
sort of
are
sweet
the
drink. Yeah,
yeah,
Alcohol
those are the
pops.
ones. Yeah.
yeah. But
I
then
can't stand
later on,
sugar with alcohol though. I think it just messes you up the most because it dries you out.
I don't know. But
What about-
later
what
on, yeah,
about-
so straight up beers and then actually spirits as well. I'll say got our hands on like gin, rum,
So
vodka.
in Korea, is hard alcohol popular, or is soju like the highest people go for hard alcohol?
Actually, those spirits like vodka, rum, tequila, those drinks are really expensive in here. Just a bottle, it costs more than $60 at a pub. And if you go to some pubs, it just the bottle costs like $100. Yeah, so university students just prefer soju, which is kind of sort of Korean vodka, and the percentage is like around 20%. We like, yeah, and soju and beer is the most common drinks that we drink in here. And nowadays the somek, we mix it together. Soju and beer, we mix.
That sounds disgusting.
We mix
and like, why would you do that?
Come on, it's like the fastest way to get drunk. The percentage of beer is too low, and the soju is too
high.
Not tasty. Yeah. So you mixing it together makes the perfect balance for you.
Perfect is a strong word.
I'll try that next time I'm in Korea.
Yeah, but with the in the beer, how to say it? The carbohydrate, the coating, carbonation. That makes you digest more easier and faster, which means that the alcohol, you can get hot, you can get drunk very fast.
Do a lot of Koreans get Asian glow? Because a lot of Chinese people like me and John.
Yeah, I think we had the similar genes. Right?
I think Gary gets it too. I think he turns pretty red when
yeah.
That's usually out of embarrassment.
He just wants to fit in, honestly.
How do you compare the Korean beers to the American beers when you got to America?
Oh, actually, I prefer American beers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, some people nowadays the kind of it's been developing. That Korean beer tastes like water. It used to taste like water. So we prefer the foreign beers, from Iran, from Belgium, and
from Iran,
Czech, no, Ireland.
Oh, Ireland.
Belgium. How do you say it? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Iran doesn't produce.
I'm sure there's some craft brewery somewhere.
Yeah.
There's someone listed beer manufacturer.
They're Muslim. They probably not drinking at all, right?
Yeah,
I guess.
it's against the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you can invite those people from that Middle Eastern Asia. So they can talk about
this
drinking.
podcast would be not that great with someone from. He would just say, "Yeah, I never drank," and that'd be the end of his interview.
Well, if they do say something like that, they might not go home ever again. So don't fuck it up for them, bro.
In college, what was your best experience, or in UCS San Diego? What's the best drink you had there?
The ones we don't remember. I'm kidding.
Karl Strauss Amber from one of those growlers that someone brought back from a brewery. That was a good night. Just drinking that around, just have a good conversation. It was a great beer.
And what is the name of the beer? I forgot. The one based in Boston.
Sam Adams.
Yeah, that's the one. That's my best. Seriously, that's my best. I visited that brewery as well.
You went to Boston?
Yeah. And I went to Guinness Factory in Dublin.
Oh. It must have been
So
an
yeah,
experience.
so wherever I go traveling, I try to visit the brewery of that country's most famous one.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah.
Nice.
So none of you
Adams.
guys like the birthday cake flavored vodkas that we had in
No.
What?
in the Rouse grocery store.
What?
If you want good flavored vodka, you go to Poland, and that's quite delicious. But the ones that you have at
No,
least
there's
in
an aisle
California-
in Rouse that was just like flavored vodkas of stuff that shouldn't be, vodka flavored, like orange creamsicle. Like,
But
it
you
looked like
couldn't
a
even
candy
taste it
packet.
because it burned your mouth. Like you barely got. You were like, "Oh, this is a weird aftertaste after I burnt my mouth."
Yeah, exactly. But it just smells like birthday cake, but then it burns your mouth.
Yeah.
No, that's weird.
But like the US was probably the first place I ever had a keg at a party. That was probably the unique experience that we don't really have at home. The
Cake?
idea of a keg.
Keg, it's
A keg. Oh, okay.
giant barrel alcohol.
Yeah.
That's, that's not something we can buy, so we never seem to have that. So that was a unique
Wait,
experience.
why can't you buy that in Ireland? It would be like way more cost efficient than.
Yeah, but it's not really for personal use. It's for pub use, so you never have it in your house, kind of thing. It's just
You
not.
never
fun.
have a crazy house party in Ireland.
Not to that level of having a keg in your house. Some people maybe, not me. This was a unique experience for my time in San Diego anyway.
What about
Did
the
you-
what
I
about
have
the
a question.
streets? Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Jonathan?
Oh,
You have a question?
because like you guys, or maybe Bar Joseph, you guys got to drink earlier, right? Start drinking earlier and everything. Would you say that kind of played a role in you guys being able to learn about the different kinds of alcohol and actually appreciate alcohol and not just see it as a means to, getting wasted? Did that have any, part to play in that? Being able to drink earlier.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, and
You think so?
definitely let me appreciate the breweries and the advantages that like somewhere like San Diego had. Whereas possibly I wouldn't have had that appreciation if I wouldn't have been able to enjoy and try all those things if I wasn't used to it, or like I couldn't drink more than one type of beer. So I think it allowed me to
Funny 'cause,
appreciate
like-
that experience more.
Okay. Because, obviously, as also being infamous for our binge drinking culture, right? I would say that even though we're able to drink earlier, most of us, at least the way we kind of, educated, I guess not even educated around alcohol, we don't really know, I would say, especially through our early years of drinking, we won't sort of drink to actually appreciate it. We just kind of drink to, get drunk, really. And that maybe, I guess, I don't know if that's the same. Ireland and Korea, definitely the UK and Australia, I hear of that as well. I think the same old type of access.
Definitely when you start, it's more about getting drunk and the concept of being drunk than appreciating. But I think that's just maturity. It's probably true of most experiences in life that you like the
Right.
first time you appreciate it more the more you experience it in the different types. And initially you just trying to make the most of your limited access.
That got really deep real quick, Gary.
Sorry.
So I take it that you didn't have that many natty lights in San Diego.
It was the first drink I had when I went to San Diego, and it was truly awful. I don't know how it was my first drink, and I kept one of the can from that first 36 pack. That was my last can that I also had when I left as the last person leaving my house. It was the last.
The last
beer I
drink you
drank.
had was natty light.
Yeah, and the first and last. And from the same 36 pack. I kept it the whole time ready.
Well,
for
people buy it
Excellent.
for the cost efficiency. I think it's like 36 cans for like $18.99 or something.
Yeah.
Like cheap like that. 50 cents a can.
Yeah.
But like your percentage is down at 3%, and it's just water essentially.
Well, what do you call the sparkling water alcohols that you like now?
Oh well, that was different times.
You think you would appreciate a natty light right now? Should I send you a box?
No, it's okay. I'm sure there's an equivalent here.
He already has the good beers, yeah. You know.
All right. So I want to
Yeah,
get
good
into the
beers.
final question of today's.
Already?
Yeah, we're about to hit an hour. So I think this is going to be a good question. If there's a global drinking age, what should it be? And how would you justify it?
6
I
and a
think-
half.
No,
16.
18. No, what? Why? Come on.
I think
what?
16 works quite well. 16 is a good age for, at least not for spirits, but I think some European countries do it quite well. That's 16 for wine and beer, and in the family environment, and let's say some kind of more social environments. Maybe not buy it in an off license to bring home, but like you can go to a pub and experience it at 16 is a good time, and then 18 allow you to open up to the more stronger alcohols and maybe buy it in an off license and bring it home and have those parties. But definitely, I think gaining some experience at a younger age, around 16, is a good experience to build up a tolerance and build up your understanding of your ability to drink.
So you mean the between 16? At 16, you can buy a drink like in the low alcohol percentage, and if you become 18, you can buy like a spirit or something, right?
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Interesting.
Oh.
All right.
In the perfect world, I think the global drinking age would actually be determined by the person, because like right now, like you have to pass a test to drive a car, right?
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't it be logical to pass some kind of competency test before you can start drinking?
To start drinking, you have
So-
to pass the test.
You get a drinking license, like a driver's license, and there's like little alcohol DMVs that you have to go to, and then someone administers a test to you.
How
And
how
then
do they
every,
test?
every
drinking?
person is different.
How?
What would
What's the
components of
test?
the test be? Like karaoke?
Yeah.
You have to
No,
drink 5
well-
shots and see if you call your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, walking straight, right?
No, but like it'll be a written test.
That's a good idea,
like,
though. That's a good idea.
Yeah, there's a written test, and you pass, like basic logical things, and then I don't know what the practical test would be though. Like, would you actually have to drink in front of the instructor or something?
How do you practice?
Well, I don't know about a logic test.
How
but
you
I'm pretty sure it's,
behave.
like sort of test to make them aware of that of their the consequences of any of their actions that sort of might unfold after after drinking, right? So like at least to get them accountable, I think, for whatever that might happen. I think that's a good idea. So people actually kind of think like harder, I guess, about drinking and therefore drinking how much, and yeah. But that's a good point. Good thing to explore, actually. Yeah, to have some sort of like process to earn that alcohol, not just sort of buy it.
It can even get like genetic to it too. Like if your family has a history of alcohol, if you can somehow figure that out, then maybe it should be restricted for you at a young age.
Mm.
In my
Yeah,
perfect, if I'm the ruler of the world, I would do something like that.
I suppose the challenge is that sometimes it hampers your development. Like if you're drinking too young, supposedly it like hurts your development as a person.
Yeah,
And so you
brain
have-
or like
Yeah. So that's the
You think,
risk.
you think in the future, like we'll have, was it like 23andMe's, like right off the bat, and then it can, like you do a saliva swab of a baby, and then it tells you this baby shouldn't drink until he's 18 and a half or something.
And a half. I like it. Good margin,
and a
yeah.
half.
Just a little leeway. I guess.
Not sure it would
Maybe,
go
I
well
don't
for
know,
me.
but
Yeah, I just still, but
honestly,
yeah. Sorry, but as Gary
go ahead,
said,
Gary.
yeah, but like teenagers are in their developing age, right? Developing status. So alcohol might, destroy the kind of brain, damage or like not only physical damage but also their brain. So I've been thinking that still, yeah, I mean, teenager means like those who haven't graduated their high school. So once they enter the college, I think we consider in Korea we consider them as grown ups, so they can handle themselves drinking. But so I believed in that theory that much, but
But everybody's brain develops differently, though. Some people's brains aren't completely developed in college. I would say like I'm way more intelligent now than I was in college. Like I made a really dumb decisions in college.
Oh, really?
Like befriending Jonathan. That's one of my dumb decisions.
Fair.
And look where we are now. Yeah.
Okay,
Here we
for
are
you,
7
because
years later.
Yeah, I think I
What a
become
dumb time.
more.
Ah.
more dumb as I'm getting older. So good for you that you became more
That's why you gotta
intelligent,
drink
right?
more. You see, you gotta like fuel that brain more. Refill.
Yeah, I think I was smartest when I was 18.
You think so?
Then
Just
alcohol
by
came in.
Yeah, then alcohol
Yeah,
came.
what kind of alcohol do you drink, bro? What did you drink back then?
But I think what Gary suggested was really kind of, logical. Like in 16, you can only drink beer. 17, you can start wine. 18, you can start vodka, like soju, right?
Like every year you get a new like Pokemon badge of alcohol that you can drink.
Yeah, so
Well,
you can raise up your tolerance slowly.
It gets to the last badge is that was it like the 151 Bacardi?
Oh,
No, absinthe,
Absinthe, isn't it?
Absinthe, yeah.
Absent, yeah. That'd be,
That one you can't touch
I
till
mean,
you're 25.
yeah, I feel like I still shouldn't touch it.
I don't know, but like I think I don't mind like to skip the question, but like I feel like age is always indicative, right? Like you said, everyone's different. You can't kind of put a one size fits all thing, but unfortunately we kind of have to. Okay, so what do we do? I don't know. I'm kind of more for sticking it to still 18 because we kind of know that once people approach that age, yeah, they're gonna try and obviously find ways to get their hands on alcohol and try them anyway. So I think focus should be on like setting the age per se. I think it should be more on making sure that the education I think is is emphasized, sort of like to have them I don't know feel that they are supported and guided throughout the whole maturing experience. I think that should be more emphasized than on sort of trying to
No, yeah, that's the perfect solution.
Punish.
But in the perfect world, that would be the solution. But it's just like
Oh,
Gary's
it's
solution is
still not-
more reasonable or like enforceable.
Yeah, but I
We
think
can all
it's not,
agree
I mean,
21 is not it.
Full circle. All right. On that note, I think it's time to end today's discussion. So for Andrew, Gary, and Jonathan, my name is Joseph, and this has been Foreigners Talk American. See you next time.
bye bye.
Oh.
Enjoy your
Yes.
drinking.